Now we're here to talk about. Oh, anybody? You guys still hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. Don't worry.
I thought my mic cut out. We're here to talk about our favorite superheroes and anti-heroes, or yes. Sorry.
Yep.
So
well, you know what? We'll break right into that. We're gonna go with you breaking the fourth wall here.
Yeah,
you said somebody was your anti-hero or hero, and me and K.POP both gave you a look. So let's talk. Let's break it down for you first. You're the first one who gets put under this microscope. So
go ahead, say it.
All right.
Say it. I fucking dare you. Say it.
All right. I'm gonna say it. My two favorite heroes have to be Thor, because he's the god of thunder.
And you look like him.
Yeah, obviously. And there's gonna be the one that ruffles you guys' feathers, and it's Scott Lang, AntMan.
Oh, but why? But
why?
Why?
He's why I love him is he's got that he's ex-con who's trying to make himself better into the world, trying to do better for his daughter, trying to do better for his lifestyle, and it's the overall redemption story. And it's
AntMan is not just Paul Rudd, though.
I know.
That's the problem.
No.
Here's the thing. I have never read an AntMan comic, so maybe you can enlighten me and K.POP here on what does.
Speaking of an AntMan comic, this comic right here.
Is AntMan actually like that in the comics? The way Paul Rudd portrayed him?
Yes. He's that kind of quirky guy where if you're like, hey, something's going on that side, it'd be like talking to ants and doing his wacky stuff. Like there'll be sometimes like one of his best friends is in a bear costume. And that's not in the MCU, which I hope down the line that
Quantumania,
hopefully with Quantumania they introduce the other Ant-Man. His name's not ringing a bell, but there's a second Ant-Man other than Hank Pym, which let's not talk about Hank Pym. That there's a guy.
Yeah, stay away from Hank Pym because we already talked about it.
Yeah, we already talked about it in the break. Yeah, I don't like Hank Pym, but let's go back to.
So is the other Ant-Man a part of Scott Lang's universe, or is he a multiversal Ant-Man?
He's part of his universe where he kind of abuses the power of Ant-Man, where he's like, I could shrink it to like safes and whatnot. He did this little thing where he would shrink down to a size and go to a shower where a female would be showering. Be like, yeah, he was that kind of sleazeball. But I do like the Scott Lang's redemption story of. I did watch the movie and I was like, I'm kind of interested in seeing and I just fell in love with the character. It's just redemption arc, trying to be better, and Thor, because Thor's has so many stories of different things. Like my favorite one, and I'm super excited for it, is the debut of the villain, Gore the God Butcher.
Yes.
I'm super stoked.
Hey, spoiler alert, but a Thor character was in Loki episode 6.
Yeah, it is.
But it was a Thor variant.
It was episode 5.
Was that 5?
Yeah,
it was 5. I'm sorry. It was 5. Excuse me, I'm already a couple of adult beverages in.
It's all good.
I will get stuff mixed up.
I completely agree with you though, Steve. Like Gore, the God Butcher in the MCU, Christian Bale. I really hope that.
Marked.
Okay,
wait. Can we get?
Do you think that they're going to do it like Hella?
Oh, like this? My bottle over it?
Yes.
We'll put the hammer down.
Well, do you think that they're going to do it like Hella, where she was in Ragnarok for 14 minutes total, somewhere around there.
There's a theory that she survived the Destroyer's attack on Asgard, but I'm hoping I got my whole comics next to this. I'm hoping they do. Where is it? they do this story, Thor the God Butcher, where Gore is asking the gods, like, what's that? Our planet is dry. Help us. And the gods tell him no. And so he's out for revenge that half of his people were kind of extinct because the gods never helped them. So now he's out for revenge. I heard that Russell Crowe is going to be Zeus. So I hope, maybe a spoiler, sorry for everybody that watching this, that the first minutes of that movie, when they see Gorg, he's going to kill Zeus. And that's his first kill of the gods. And that's just go through and trying to go figure out where Jane Foster, Thor and everybody else.
Why couldn't it have been Sean Bean? You got the joke? Okay, good. We got the joke. Okay, someone got the joke.
One does not simply
Oh, K-pop face. He did not like it. He did not like the Sean Bean joke.
I love Sean Bean. Sean Bean has been one of my favorite characters and like everything. But once I see him in every single show, and I'd be like, all right.
And he dies.
This is gonna sound like a what we have rule 1. I'm gonna sound like a trash human, but when he finally passes away, I go, that was perfect for him. But he's supposed to be one of my favorite actors because he just plays that death role so well. And I'm rambling on too much, but what K-pop? Who is your favorite superhero and anti-hero?
So, as far as superheroes go, you gotta go with Spider-Man. Spider-Man has so many different. Which
one?
I mean,
it's
if
like
you're talking,
it's like 3. There's Peter Parker, Miles Morales.
I love Peter Parker. That's Peter Parker's who I grew up with. Miles Morales, great story arc. I love that. But Peter Parker is who I grew up with. Those are the comics that I love. Like especially, I mean, just the one that I showed here, the Maximum Carnage series where Carnage, gets introduced, Cletus Cassidy and everything. That's what really got me into comics, the actual physical property of them. Because Spider-Man, I used to watch when I was a kid. I had a VHS of Spider-Man versus Doctor Doom that I just played that thing until it melted, and so he's always been like a part of comics for me. But when it comes to my anti-heroes, which crossover here, Spawn, this is issue 300 with the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man variant of it. But
we're getting into that later, but don't worry.
Spawn, the first time I before I even knew about comics, I knew about Spawn with the Michael Jai White movie. It's not good. It's not good. You watch it now, it's not good when it comes to the graphics and everything, but I still love the movie itself.
I'll give credit where credit's due. For that movie being in that era, it was ahead of its curve.
I was going to mention that.
But, I mean, to an extent, because, but I mean, The Matrix did their CGI and everything a lot better than Spawn did.
But the thing is that when did you ever see how big is the Violator? 9 feet? When he's actually
if you're talking,
fully
his, demon form, yeah, he's huge. It doesn't look good, but it was that time when CGI was starting to develop, but
I mean,
when it was
let's look at the
really
Blood
bad.
and Blade versus Spawn. The animated Blood and Blade is so cheesy, and I bring Blade up because Blade is a comic book character.
Yeah.
But I would say that if I was to watch Blade 1 or Spawn, while motherfuckers can't skate uphill, I would still pick Spawn.
I'd go
Because
Blade. I'd go
I'm
Blade
sorry,
personally for
I
the
actually
for the
think
movie.
Spawn's got a
But when
better
it comes to
story.
comics,
I think Spawn's got a better story.
Spawn has the best story. I mean, he's trying to fight for his family. He's like Vin Diesel out here. It's all family.
It's a better redemption than Ant-Man.
Yeah, but
Got any orange
I
slices?
personally have always been an Image guy in general. I love Image comics. Their whole foundation of like giving creators the money they deserve, and it being a creator-based company is one thing that I absolutely love. But the all-time best comic ever created, the Max.
Max is
The
good.
Max right here. If you have not read this series, it's not too long. I want to say it's under 50 issues, but it was good enough that MTV during Liquid Television, they hired Sam Keith to create a Max show, which followed, I think, issue 1 through like 18 or so, somewhere around there. It's incredible. The artwork, the character, everything about it. Hell, when I was a kid, I had a snake. I named him Max with 2 X's. Had to be 2 X's because I loved that. I loved it so much, and I still do. The Max is one of the greatest comics ever.
Speaking of Max, canon now, my cat is named Max, but with only 1 X. Sorry.
Oh, then it's not cool, man. Like you got to have the second one.
Not cool.
You have the second. You have to have the second one to be edgy enough for the 90s.
Don't get into 3, or else we're going to fall into a different algorithm in
Yeah,
YouTube.
That's the only
We can't be on YouTube anymore.
That's
Now,
not Patreon. That's OnlyFans.
I did not bring down my hero comics. I brought down my obscure comics because I knew Steve would bring down his Marvels, and I knew you would. And we talked earlier.
I also have DC comics too. I'm not just a
Yeah,
Marvel boy. I'm just.
Listen. I'm wearing a Marvel shirt about being a good dad, but listen.
Look, and I got this one. Get this guy a shield.
Yeah. But I brought my obscure comics, so if I say my characters, I'm not whipping out a comic for them. I'm just gonna bring that out because what I show is gonna be a whole different ballgame. But as I was thinking about it, and when we talked backstage, I'm changing my one character. I'm gonna go with my anti-hero, and you'll figure this out in a second, or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
So
bad.
I was. Yeah.
Explain
Here. So
Cowabunga, dude.
I'm an '80s child, so I actually grew up on the original IDW Turtles.
Yeah. So you're talking the old school black and
gritty with the red monochromatic red, all matching.
Sin City.
That was Sin City.
Yeah.
The gritty ones where they would actually kill for the right side of for the right side of humanity, and that's pretty much what an anti-hero is, because most heroes don't kill, but these would kill. And the backstory of the Turtles is absolutely amazing to me, and it's not just one, it's 4, and each one of them have their own personal struggles, and they each overcome their own struggles because they're the brotherhood, they're the family, and there's their sensei, Master Splinter, and stop it. I have not watched the new Fast, and I still refuse to watch the new Fast.
I heard they go to space, and I'm like, all right, this is not about cars anymore.
I know.
Hey, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Please tell me you're clowning me right now.
No, I am not clowning. They go to space for some odd reason.
With John Cena.
John Cena.
Cena was already Cena was already in a show where a show went to space somewhat, and that was G.I. Joe, and he died in the first 5 minutes of that episode or that movie. But we won't get into that.
Movie? Nice.
He G.I. Joe 2. He dies in the first 15 minutes. Non-spoiler, spoiler, you deserve it. But my hero, and he's also an anti-hero, but he doesn't kill. Batman. I don't relate to
does
Batman.
kill. Don't say that he doesn't kill. You need to admit it. He has killed.
He has. He's owned up to his mistakes. Yes, but as the new variant, he doesn't kill. He knows every time he kills, he actually it's the absolute ultimatum. And it's got to be the last straw. Yeah, the Dark Knight Returns. He kills the Joker. But at that point, how long him and the Joker been going at it? Yes, one of my favorite. That's actually the comic that got me into the comics that I have.
What this one? The Court of Owls.
No, Court of Owls is a great one, but the Dark Knight Returns is
Dark Knight Returns has to be the hands down best Batman comic.
But that was the first ever graphic novel that I went into, and then it got me into The Crossed, which if I open this up, this no longer becomes a PG-13 episode. Because
was it?
K-pop. No, not really. But you know what I'm saying. I've shown some pictures from this, and K-pop's like, "What the fuck's going on in there?" And I'm like, "Oh well,
I want to see all of it."
Well, there's an actual. I will. Yeah, full spoilers. I'm going to blow it up. First comic I ever read of The Cross. They absolutely jerk off onto a bucket of bullets and then shoot the bullets at people, which causes them to turn. So
let's go.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
One of my things. I got one more thing about Batman. How do you feel that he beats up random people asking where the Joker is, and they have no idea where the Joker is? Have you seen
it? Yes.
Have you seen those TikToks where those guys is like, I don't know where the Joker is, but it's true.
But like every great. Because as you mature out of comics, like even though the comics are great, graphic novels to me is where it's at. Because graphic novels is where I've lived most of my comic book life. Because one, they're a little bit thicker to read, so it's not like I don't get the unjoyous taste of like, oh my god, what happens the next? I gotta wait a month.
Yeah.
Compendiums and trade paperbacks are the best thing ever.
Yes.
But I know that that's not a purist attitude to comics, but when I say I have a purist attitude to comics, don't at me. I have the original Death of Superman in the original.
Spoilers, man. I know he died.
But it's still in the same original comic book.
Have you ever read it?
Back.
Have you pulled it out and read it?
Oh yes. This has actually been used. But this is from. Who says I don't have other copies?
Calm down.
Wait, how did he die? Did he get hit by a rock?
A green rock, a glowing green rock.
Glowing green rock killed him.
Put it to this way. This comic is December of '92. The original copy, first track.
I was 1 year old.
I was born.
Hold on.
What are you doing? Why take it out of the box?
Because I'm an asshole for you.
That's Doomsday.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Doomsday has to be one of my favorite DC villains because it's an abomination. Shout out to Abomination and Marvel, but just Kryptonian, Zod.
I brought this all down. This is after he dies. Mm-hmm. I have all 4 variant covers. Hold on, let me put this back in there.
Oh yeah.
I love how you call it variant now.
Because
that's what they are. They've always been variant covers. So I gotta show this.
Oh, do you have it?
Now,
did you bring it up?
Now, Okay, well, I've got a couple of things for you. We talked about this a few weeks ago. I've been making you guys wait for it. It's not the most exciting or anything. This isn't it, but I love this variant cover, Black Cat Carnage.
Wow.
This is beautiful. This is one of my favorite covers I've ever seen.
Oh,
It's just it's so well done. Look at that. But anyway, off from that, I do gotta still show my Gore Orgasmageddon signed by
this is coming to the
all the
MCU.
members.
Oh shit! I did not bring it down. I should have brought down my The Boys. I have the whole run of The Boys.
I love The Boys. Such a good
Boys is
series and
great.
such a great comic.
One of my favorites. So hold on, I'm gonna go into one more. One of my favorites that I brought down, and I got onto this guy in K.POP news, but Scott Snyder. So I'm going to show you his first comic book that I actually caught on to, which was American Vampire. Which
Oh, yeah.
in it, it's just gritty. It's just a gritty looking comic, and each set of the comics that they do, the volume 1, the volume 2, I think there's 4 volumes of it. The vampire in it, his name is Skinner Sweet, and it's just yeah, it's just such a great comic, and I would say it's ran by Vertigo, so that should tell you the quality of it.
Well, and Scott Snyder, the better of the Snyders.
Ah! Ah!
What's wrong with Zack Snyder?
Fuck you, Zach.
He,
You know who Zack
Oh,
Snyder is?
he's gonna watch this. He's gonna sue the hell out of all 3 of
hope
us.
he does.
Do it.
I hope he does.
that Justice League was not worth
You
my
Michael
4.5
Bay of comic
hours.
books.
But
Yeah,
okay,
I said
so
it. The Michael
Another
Bay of comic
explosion?
books.
so this now it's not the most exciting, but I thought it was intriguing. Okay, so I was in a bookstore one day, and they had the owner of it. He had like a couple of comic book bins out, and I was flipping through them, and he's like, "Hey, I got a bunch in my attic. You want me to pull them down?" He pulls down like 10 more lawn boxes, and I start flipping through them, and start flipping through them and everything. And I found this, and it caught my eye. It's a Walking Dead, but this isn't the Walking Dead that we know. This is completely different. Look at this. This is Walking Dead from the 80s. The Walking Dead, but from the 80s. Now, the whole thing about this story is so it's basically an alien race found a way to create a gas that they are able to revive their best soldiers because they're in a war. And one of the spaceships that was carrying the gas crash landed in New York City in a graveyard and just let all the gas out. And all of the dead people in the cemetery rose from the grave, but they were like semi-intelligent. They could talk, but they talked like cavemen. They talked like the trash people in The Walking Dead, like the TV show and the comic book now. But this is from the 80s. Like
I hate to say it,
it blew my mind.
I'm gonna merge it real quick. I'm gonna bring back wrestling. The new Dave Bautista movie.
Don't watch it.
It's not bad. It's not good, but
it's 3 hours long.
I didn't say it was that good, but the zombies in it did have a intellectual thought process.
To an extent, it's kind of like that, except they're able to communicate. Like they form gangs and ride on motorcycles and shit. Like
I
can just picture it now.
it was intriguing nonetheless. Like seeing The Walking Dead and then seeing zombies talking and forming gangs and like telling them what to do and everything.
That's pretty cool.
It was a cool little pickup, and I thought you guys might enjoy that a little bit. So
It makes it. See, here's the thing. So I know you're West Coast and me and Steve are East Coast, but you know where the middle of where me and Steve could actually meet up, which would actually be kind of funny, would be Red Bank, New Jersey.
hey, Red Bank,
Yeah,
home of
it
Jay
would
and
be like
Silent Bob's secret stash.
it would be actually me and Steve's meeting point. I actually kind of looked it up. So
Dude, that's
maybe me and Steve have to
great.
do a live comic book run.
Definitely
You
can.
gotta go and talk to Walt, talk to get him Steve Dave. I love the
Another
I follow
another
all that
podcast that's
stuff.
out there. Yes, it's another podcast. It's a part of the Smodcast
Yeah.
network. But anyway, my friend actually just met Kevin Smith during ArrowCon, that was in Jersey. He was actually over
nice.
there, and he's a huge Green Arrow fan. I mean, he named his son Oliver. But yeah, the Green Arrow, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes were both there, so they're probably so.
Nice.
If you, yeah, but if you ever actually want to go, that's actually another really good series though too. Like as silly as him as Jay and Silent Bob is, Kevin Smith's actually a really good comic book writer.
Oh yeah.
And I think that is actually a great way to understand comics to movies because he gets both. Even though his genre is a little niche.
Walrus. No.
Tusk.
Tusk.
Yes.
Tusk.
Yoga Hosers. Red State.
Do not talk bad about Tusk. That is
Tusk
a
was great.
fantastic movie.
I
love that movie.
I actually turned Steve on to Red State, so don't get me wrong.
You turned him on. Hey.
Yeah,
but no, it's like for the people who don't know, again, we're gonna delve into our little private lives. Again, we are promo artists who like to do e-fed stuff where we actually do things. Steve does a character called the Rev, and I was like, you need to go watch Red State because in Red State, oh my god, I'm gonna blank on this guy's name.
I forgot his name too, but he's in Tusk.
It's
the same character.
Same main character from Tusk,
but he is not John Goodman. No, not the man upstairs. It's not John Goodman.
Not Goodman.
But Goodman's got one of the John Goodman's got a great line in Red State where he says, "Rub 2 cents. You can't rub 2 pennies together to make common sense." I do love that line, but he just passed away a couple years ago too.
Wait, God. Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
not
that.
Not John Goodman. Not John Goodman.
No, I know that. I know that.
Live forever.
Was his
But
name
the guy
Henry? No, I'm off. I'm thinking Henry Keitel.
No.
Harvey Keitel.
Harvey Keitel. But
no, that's absolutely not it.
I'll put it to you this way. He puts on such a great portray like Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like you just are so enwrapped in this character. And I was like, you need to watch him as the preacher because he kills it. And this is where I want your character to go. But anyway, I'm going to say
you believe every single bit of it.
Everything he says. Just like Loki.